Next question.
Let's do that.
Why do you never or rarely swear or use profanity? Yeah, bro. Why do you never swear? Anyway, that's part A of the question. Why do you never swear or use profanity? Part B of the question is, what do you do to combat burnout? My schedule isn't helping. I'm a prosecutor, constantly overrun with violence and despair, up at 5 a.m. to play music or read. A jiu-jitsu purple belt, trying to keep up with the young monsters on the mat, but never seem to have enough time because life is always making huge demands, and trying to get better at gymnastic strength training without neglecting my wife and my dog. Thanks for encouraging us regular fellas to dig a little deeper and try a little harder.
Well, the swearing question, we actually talked about that already on one of the earlier podcasts. I don't know which number, but it's covered in great detail. I think it's an 18-minute conversation. Yeah. Let's not rehash that one.
And just to clarify that, it more appropriate, we'll just say a question would be to modify this. Say, why do you never or rarely swear on while you're recording?
That is true.
Because you get your swear on from time to time.
I give myself 6 foul language usages per month.
Dang.
Outside,
okay.
You know.
Outside recording. Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding. Yes, I do swear. I think it's.
You think that's cool, huh? So cool.
I don't know if it's cool or not, but I do it. But I don't swear here, and I don't swear when I'm presenting, and I don't swear in front of my wife and kids, and I.
Really? Not in front of your wife?
Not really.
Not to say that's bad or nothing, but that's interesting.
Not really.
For sure.
No, I mean, I try and give her some respect and speak. In fact, when I do swear in front of her, I do it knowingly that I'm trying to make some kind of a statement about something.
Yeah, like emphasizing.
Yeah,
something.
Really emphasize something.
Dang. Okay.
So,
cool, man. That's good.
Hey. Okay, now let's get to the combating burnout. First of all, it sounds like this guy right here has a lot going on, which is awesome. Good for you. Yes. That's killer. Welcome to life, right? Now, a couple things, right? And I guess this might be a little bit of a theme tonight, but you got to make it fun, right? Instead of viewing these things like an oppressive grind, I mean, just the way that, the mats, I go on the mats, I don't have time, and life is making huge demands, and I'm trying to do just gymnastic strength training, but without neglecting my wife. And it's like everything is a grind. No, it's not. You have the opportunity to do gymnastics. You got a wife and you got a dog. That's awesome. As Echo would say, that's dope right there. So what, instead of looking at them like that, let's look at them at what we can do to get more done. Okay, first of all, what kind of time constraints can you put on things, right? Force yourself to do some things faster, okay? For instance, reading first thing in the morning, I don't know. I don't agree with that. Like, why would you get up in the morning and read? Reading? No, end of the day, okay? Playing music first thing in the morning, playing music should be fun and enjoyable, as should be. So getting up and going, okay, I'm going to go play music, you're turning it into a labor. Right? You're turning it into a labor. It should be something that's winding you down at the end of the night. So when you wake up in the morning, do something that requires some discipline and has you get after it a little bit and wakes you up a little bit more, right? Another thing is, jiu-jitsu. This is a weird question. How fast can you train jiu-jitsu? Because I can tell you for many, many years, and also what part of jiu-jitsu is important to you and what part are you getting the most out of? Because for many, many years, especially once the war started, when I would show up to train basically at the end of class, and I still do this sometimes. I show up when Dean is done teaching, when Jeff is done teaching. Believe me, if I had unlimited hours, I would sit there and absorb everything that they have to say. I learned something from Dean the other day. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I learned from Dean the other day. I couldn't believe that I didn't know it. I couldn't believe that I didn't know it. I couldn't believe how well it worked. And I couldn't believe that bastard never taught it to me, which made me really angry. But that's the way it is. I've been training for 20 years, and he taught me a basic, fundamental thing that I did not know. So if I could, of course, I'd be in there all the time, learning, absorbing. Glover's the same way. Glover teaches you little things, and he goes, oh, you should do this right here. Oh, man, how did I not know that? So I would learn all I could, but I don't have much time for that. So what do? Show up when that stuff's over, and I go and I train.
Yeah.
Get it on. And how fast, that's what I'm saying, is how fast can you, what gets you the most impact in the shortest amount of time? So for me, I always feel if I don't have time to take an hour and a half class, that's, a 10-minute warm up, a 30 minutes or 40 minutes of instruction, 10 minutes, 20 minutes of drilling, and then half an hour of rolling, or however long that all put together is. But I'm going to show up. For me, the most important part at this juncture in my jiu-jitsu career is the rolling. So I'm going to show up for that last, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm going to get my rounds in. Maybe that's what you need to do, because you don't have time to take an hour and a half class with all that other stuff. So see if you can do that. The other thing you might have to do is prioritize and execute the extracurricular activities. Right? Well, you got gymnastics going on, you got BJJ going on, you got reading, you got music going on. How do you bring those things together, or how do you prioritize them so that you focus on which one's going to be the most important? That's the bottom line, right? Because you might not have time to do everything, and so you might be just dabbling in all of them and not making any progress in any of them.
Oh yeah. Huh.
So that's not good. Another thing. How can you manipulate your work schedule, right? What can you do at your work schedule that you could squeeze something in? For instance, do people take a lunch break? I haven't taken lunch in the SEAL teams. I didn't take lunch. Why would you take lunch? Like, I'm going to go for an hour of time and go to a place and sit down and eat. No, I'm going to eat at my desk while I'm working. So I'm never going to take lunch. So maybe during your work, hey, we're going to go down and have some lunch. Cool. That's when I'm going to go do, 500 burpees or whatever. I'm going to go run to the gym real quick and get a workout, and I'm going to do my sprints or whatever. Mm-hmm. So see what can you do there? Maybe you could get more work done in this time when you're waking up early because you want to get after it. Maybe that's the time when you should go to the job because no one's going to bother you. You can get a bunch of work done, and then you can take a break from 7 until 9 when the rest of everyone's coming in with their coffee and want to talk to you. No, that's when you're working out, or that's when you're doing something else. So how can you maximize it? I used to do this when we used to have to write evaluations for all of our guys, and it's a big pain in the Navy, and they have to be perfect, and they're getting recording guys' records. So you want them to be perfect. You want to take the effort because this is how the guys get evaluated so they can get advanced. So you want to take your time with it. But during we'd get, I was in charge, so I get these big stacks of evals that I have to go through, and it's correct. It's basically doing corrections of papers over and over and over again until they're perfect. And it's meticulous work. And so what I would do is during that time period, it would take like a month to get it done. I wouldn't work out first thing in the morning. I would go to work immediately in the morning, and while everyone else was either not there, or I would work. And then when everyone showed up, at 11, I'd go work out during lunch. And just, if you want to come talk to me, because everyone always wants to talk to you, right? Everyone always got something to say to you.
Jamming you up. Yep.
You can't just leave me alone because I'm trying to work. But so how can you manipulate your work to maximize what you're getting out of it? Another thing is maybe take a little break from some of the activities. Maybe take a break from music. Maybe take a break from, or maybe you say, oh, you know what? I've been doing an hour of music a day. I'm going to change that. I'm going to do, for the next month, I'm only going to do 15 minutes just to keep my skills maintained, but I'm not going to progress, and I understand that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you take a break from the mats for 2 weeks. I can tell you, if you're training every day, a 2-week break from the mat, in many cases, myself, definitely, I take a jump up. I get better if I take a break. That's why travel for me, I don't like it when it goes on all the time, but I go away for 6 days and don't train. I come back and I feel a little bit better. I have some stuff gels in the brain. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I have no problem. That used to make Dean, one time I came home from deployment, and Dean and I were training, and I was just so fired up, coming, and I was kind of smashing him, and I'm yelling at him, I've been on deployment, I've been overseas, what have you been doing back here? How come I'm crushing you? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just crushing him that day. And so he went home that night, and he made us. This is when you had to burn. This is when you had to burn CDs. He made a CD that was called "Kill Jocko." That was all of his favorite whatever metal songs. And he came back, and the next day he came back and destroyed me.
Killed Jocko.
Yeah, he did kill Jocko that next day. But yeah, so taking a break sometime just to focus on some of the other stuff. The other thing, okay, you got your wife and your dog. Spend time with them while you're doing these activities, right? Your dog can go running with you, right? That's awesome. Your dog can come to the park, watch you do pull-ups, right? Your dog can chase the kettlebell that you're throwing or whatever, the shot put or the medicine ball. You can have. Be careful if you're throwing your kettlebell around your dog. That might have been bad advice. You throw kettlebells. I was with my buddy. We were in New Jersey one time, and we went and threw kettlebells. It was wintertime, and we were throwing kettlebells. And the kettlebells it was part of the workout was you had to dig the kettlebell back up out of the mud.
Oh, right,
it was pretty funny. Anyways, so my point was saying that if you threw your kettlebell and it hit a dog, it would not be good. So don't do that one. But take your dog with you to the park. Go have fun, hang out. And same thing with your wife. Your wife doesn't want to do some jujitsu? My wife did jujitsu before she was pregnant so much she was coming to the gym with me all the time. She was training, and then let's bring it into the family a little bit. Get her in gymnastics. Get your Tim Ferriss acro yoga on with your girl, right? Yep. That's the same thing. Get her in the game. Have her lay down some vocal tracks, right? Got maybe little backing vocals from mama. Let's hear what that sounds like. And that way you're doing the stuff that you want to do, but you're bringing your family into the game a little bit. And like I said, man, have fun. Because all these things that you're talking about, even being a prosecutor, which I'm sure, like you said, embeds you in just violence and disturbing things all the time, and it's a challenging job, but enjoy that challenge, and how can you do it better, and how can you win? I'm going to have fun with it. And I had fun all the time. I had fun overseas. I had fun in Iraq. I had fun in the bowels of a ship that I was deployed on for 6 months. I'm going to have fun and laugh hysterically at things. And it's the same thing with music and with working out and jiu-jitsu. Man, you got to enjoy them all. And just like when you're on the mat, you're competing against these young monsters. Don't just try and compete with everybody. Just try and get better. Because that is winning. And that's what's going to make you better in the long run. Because that'll make you stick with things. Make you stick with them. Because if you don't enjoy jiu-jitsu, why would you do it for 25 years? If you don't enjoy music, why would you keep practicing it? So my final thought on this, man, my brother, have some fun with this stuff.
Yeah, and being a prosecutor, that's the kind of job where even when you go home, bro, it's still in your mind, So as far as the whole experience, it's like, dang, my job is taking up so much time. It's true. So yeah, I would imagine that would make it more of a difficult thing to balance.
You got to figure out that way to leave your job at work.
Yeah.
Right? We want to excel at it. I just had this conversation with a guy today. Just because if you're looking at you can't, the way you're going to do your job better as a prosecutor is not by just being 100% focused on that 100% of the time. You will not do a better job. Right. If you do a good job, if you focus on that a lot and you still do jiu-jitsu and you still train and you still get after it and how many good ideas? I have so many good ideas that come to me when I'm working out, when I'm doing yard work, because you gotta give your brain a little space to think.
Right.
It's just like planning a SEAL operation. If you're sitting there looking at the map from 2 inches away the whole day, trying to get this plan perfect, you're not going to see everything. And it's the same thing with any job that you have. If you get yourself totally wrapped around that job, you're not going to have the proper detachment from the job to see the bigger picture. So you must get some space between you and your job so you can think properly.
Yeah. And just like, and that other element, like everything you do, studying, working out is like this, where you work hard, you get your reps, and then you get your rest. You can't be doing push-ups all day, every single day, You
won't get stronger, actually.
Yeah.
You're right.
So when, just like studying, where they say, like, I guess when you study or memorize or both, whatever, and then you go to sleep, that's when they get your neural connections
get solidified.
When you sleep. That's not when you're studying. So if you're cramming for a test for 2 days straight, no sleeping,
That won't help you as much
Yes.
as studying for 4 hours properly, getting some good
Go
sleep.
get your rest, yeah.
Go
So
get
that's
your-
the same thing with the job, Get grind on the job.
Yep.
And then, man, forget about it for a little bit.
Yep.
When you come back,
It'll
it's gonna
make you
be
better.
boop, boop,
The same.
be-
It's weird. Coincidentally, that's what I just said happens at
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu.
exactly right.
Just said
Gels.
that.
Yep, exactly right. And a little tip, and I don't know if this would, I know this because I know how that feels when you're like, dang, I work so much and I don't have time to go work out or whatever, or I'm always pressed for time or whatever. You can kind of overlap the two. So what I did, I'd go to work, and then right after work, I'd go home, I'd change, and then I'd go to the gym. And then I'd be like, man, I don't have time for anything. If I expect to work out as much as I need to in my mind, or as much as I want, I don't have time for anything else. But here's the thing. You kind of do have time when you start to overlap. So, and this will sound real obvious and simple, but sometimes you miss these little things. So what I ended up doing, which a lot of people do, is you just bring your workout clothes and your pre-workout to work, and then go straight to the gym.
You saved yourself all kinds of time.
Yeah.
You actually got your workout. You saved 40 minutes just by doing that. That was your workout.
Yeah. And that's not to mention when you go home, a lot of time you have this, a lot of time it's subconscious too. It's you start to just mellow out. You're like, I'm home, boom, I mellow. So the chance of you skipping a workout becomes higher. That's a different thing for sure. But that seems like an obvious thing, if you're going to work out after work, it seems obvious. I know, but there's other things just like that in like life where let me just overlap them. Right. Just like eating lunch at your desk.
Yeah.
Same
just
exact
straight up.
thing.
It's just straight up efficiency. Maybe we'll have to do a whole podcast on just how to be more efficient.
Yeah. So if you're keeping your eyes open for, okay, how can I overlap here, overlap there? And you'll be like, oh, dang, I got 2 hours at the end of the day right now. Yep. Or just more time to do more stuff, Yeah. So just keep your eyes open, man. And the jiu-jitsu thing too, back to the jiu-jitsu real quick. You said try to just focus on like the parts that help you the most, like come in, don't quote unquote, for lack of a better term, waste your time on like the warm up, and if that's not where you get the most learning. Before you do that, clear it with the instructor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because the instructor, they don't dig it when you just skip the warm up, roll in when it's time to roll.
Yeah,
in fact, that's like a thing. So you gotta say like a lot. Like I'll do that too.
Talk to your instructor and say, hey, I'm working a bunch right now. I got this case going on and I got to get through it. And so I'm only going to come 3 times a week, and all I have time for is just to come in and roll. Yeah. Is that cool with you? Yeah. What are they going to say? No.
Yeah. Or just say at this time. Because if you say, I can only have time to roll, they're like, you want to skip my lesson then? That's the part you chose to skip. So you say, hey, I can only come in at this time. Well, I've been in that situation where, I've been working on this thing and also other schedules. I had my new baby and all this stuff. So it's like, dang, the only time I can come in realistically was to get there at like 12:35.
Just to get you rolling.
Yeah. When the instruction starts at noon, and then I know Jeff was like, these higher belt thinks he can just roll. I don't know if he thought this or not. It's probably me being I felt it, but it could have been me being paranoid. Greg encourages that, by the way. Greg Train. He encourages if you get more out of just rolling than you do the lesson, like when you get to a certain belt and how your learning starts to take shape, like what you learn better. He encourages it, but
the only thing is that like I just saying what I just learned from Dean the other day, and what other things have I missed?
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
But that's an opportunity cost situation,
Yeah, but dang, that's important stuff. Maybe I missed it.
But
that what I do is I always like even if I get there a little late, I'll be like I'll look and see what moves they showed, and I'll figure out if there's anything I didn't know.
Yeah, but how can you figure out if there's something you didn't know?
No, because I say, hey, Jeff, what did you teach today? Or I'll watch guys like, what'd you guys learn? What'd you guys go over today? And this, and I'll go, hey, Jeff, how does that work? Or I'll say, hey, Dean, what's this thing here? So I'll just ask them,
Basically reteach the whole class.
No, not reteach, because like you just said, my learning is developed. So all they need to say is, hey, we went over this escape right here, or we went over this finish, and here's how you do it, or this transition.
Right. So. Yeah. But that one, you got to kind of communicate.
Respect your instruction.
Yeah, you totally got to.